What's up, SNA fans? This is Super Ninja Austin here with the latest edition of the SNA podcast, 174 episode. And this is the AEW Dynamite review, part 18, I believe. Yeah. But anyways, we're going to talk about what exactly went down on tonight's AEW Dynamite on December 13th, 2023. We'll start off with Samoa Joe cutting a promo about who's this mystery who attacked MJF with his goons, and the same guy who stole MJF's mask and whacked the back of his head with a beer bottle. But despite that happening, I say it could be true, and we could see this devil reveal at World's End when Samoa Joe and MJF battle it out for the All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. But where Samoa Joe, for now, we're gonna see what Samoa Joe said on the microphone. He was like, and then he wished MJF for a speedy recovery so he could face him as his rightful challenger for the All Elite Wrestling World Championship. Of course, fans start clapping and cheering because they still want to see that match. Samoa Joe also added by saying, and also, we're a little half a smirk saying last week I was made into a liar, because last year with the machinations of the devil, and then I was looking at a screen and I saw MJF laid out in the back in the hallway. And he's like, I'm trying to jeopardize my championship opportunity against him, and fans are going boo because they do not want this mystery devil be the cause of MJF not wrestling, which I don't think that's going to happen. I still think, despite being attacked from behind a week ago, I still think he still have plenty of time to recover. And we're going to see this match. And, well, if I'm going to see this match, I just need to come up with the Quado cash, which I believe I can. Which, how much is the pay-per-view? Like about 50 or 60? Just give me about a couple of weeks, and I'll probably will come up with that type of Watto cash so I can watch the pay-per-view and perhaps even make a review of it. Like, why not? This will be my first time making an AEW pay-per-view review. And I'm going to be trying to start doing that into every few months in the base. Like, whether if it's Revolution, whether if it's Double or Nothing, whether if it's Forbidden Door, whether if it's All Out, All In, or All In then All Out, what if it's Wrestle Dreams, AEW Full Gear, and so much more, whatever pay-per-views AEW is going to be bringing in the foreseeable future. Anyway, I'm going to start trying to make some pay-per-view reviews and maybe even start growing my channel by doing more exclusive content. But anyway, Samoa Joe's but also run the tracks of destiny that does not get run over. But let me explain to you that what's going to happen tonight. See, I walked in the back. I observed MJF's. I saw MJF was face first into the ground, and I saw the beer bottle right beside him, and certain cowboy likes busted right over his head. So I couldn't help but notice that I have some kind of suspicion on a certain cowboy, on that particular certain cowboy. As I got closer, and as I saw, I had the sense of a devastating disappointment in my show. I smelled default. And he's like, while I walk around the building, back searching high and low, for this cowboy, but it seemed like certain Hangman was missing as well. I would say as well because MJF wasn't missing. He's missing tonight, but I would say my apologies. I'd say he's only just said I noticed that a certain cowboy was, and that's when Hangman Adam Page's theme music was playing. He entered the ring and confronted Samoa Joe. And let me tell you, at the end of the night, it showed that it wasn't Hangman Adam Page that attacked MJF. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil any more details and get into more details, but I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. But make sure you watch until the end and see what I meant by that. But anyway, this is where Hangman Adam Page came out. This is where he went face to face with the Samoan submission machine. He was like, you think I am the culprit too? Like, you don't tell me your personal property has gotten to your head too. Like, we all know who exactly the real head. Like, if you think it's me, Samoa Joe, like anything to do with this, like anything I give to, I know, like if I even give any notice about of a damn about the devil. He was like, and then whatever your relationship with you and Max, like I don't care about your bromance that y'all have. Like I don't care about the laser tag. I don't care about the game of Clue, who done it. Like Joe, I don't care none about these shenanigans whatsoever. So when Joe's like, well, hey man, you may not care about anything what's going on about this mystery devil. You make a mistake of thinking I came out here like in a detective. Like, maybe I made up my mind on that as an executioner. Like, and this is where they went face to face. Looked like they about to battle it out. But Hangman Page used his words right in his fist. Like, well, Joe, if it's something you want to do about it, like, why don't you go ahead and do something about it? And this is where Roderick Strong had to interrupt their argument by saying, Samoa Joe and Hangman Adam Page. Like, I was like, really, this guy again? Like, it's only bad enough he's yelling like that to the other Adam, which is the property of Samoa Joe's best friend, the leader of the Bay Bays. But anyways, MJ, this is where Roderick Strong came out with his ring gear, still wearing a neck brace. I was like, why are you still wearing that neck brace? Like, maybe it's a good thing he's no longer in the wheelchair, but why in the hell he still have that neck brace on? Even though it's all part of his shtick, but still, like, it's a type of shtick that looks unnecessarily like whether if it's kayfabe or reality. Like, it's not like he really needs the neck unless it gives him superpower. But even for playing as a kayfabe character, as a kayfabe character, that doesn't mean it looks any legitimate of him having that kind of ability of having some neck strong powers. Only just the power of his strength and his physique. That's what makes him have power. And this is where he's like, Samoa, and this is where Roderick Strong's like, Samoa Joe, you're lucky they didn't hurt you. I was like, wow, like that's very unusually suspicious that came out of the former NXT North American champion's mouth. Like this man, he's not making himself look better by saying that. Like, how we know he's not the devil under the mask, and Matt Taven and Mike Bennett could be two of the guys out of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven of the Kingdom could be two of the guys that are the four main minions of the Mystery Devil. And we could see Kyle O'Reilly, which there's speculations about Kyle O'Reilly being one of them, because considering one of them did a pose like when they were getting ready to get in the ring when they were surrounding Samoa Joe, like how Kyle O'Reilly did in his Undisputed Era and Red Dragon days in WWE and Ring of Honor. Like when he started getting ready to get in the ring, he started doing that kind of maneuver. We could see him, and it could be Bobby Fish, the returning Bobby Fish, but I'm not sure because he's not under a contract. But that doesn't mean he can sign right back if he decides to do so. But let me know what y'all think about this theory in the comments down below. But anyways, this is where Roderick Strong was like what? But I hate to say this, but you gotta listen to Hangman here, right? I mean, like, he's my young boy and all. After all, he's like, I never forgot about that, Hangman. Like, and listen, Joe, like, have you seen what has been happening, Joe? Like, when you had your back turned on Maxwell, like you asked for a world title match against me, he gets attacked. Like, the Acclaimed lose the tag match for Max, and they also get attacked. And then in the far with the Goons, like in the tag match, like November 29th, the fatal shut the shot on it, and you came it was like the fatal of death for Maxwell of to the devil and his goon like or his goons I should say like and you came here for the aid of him and no one else did him like last week. And and he's like we never saw them physically touch for Mr. Freeman like we just saw him laying there with a broken glass bottle. And he was like, come on, Samoa Joe, think. Like, it's obvious, like, what's going on here. Like, what about Max? Like, Max is the devil himself. Like, come on, Joe. He's like, I wouldn't lie to you. Like, even Heyman, even Heyman will agree that it's Maxwell Jacob Freeman. This is where Hangman Page is like, why are you getting in the ring to trying to speak for me? Like, I don't need you right now. And this is where he pushes Hangman Page like, yo, step back. This is what Roderick Strong did. This is where Hangman Page, and this is where Roderick Strong's like, I'm talking about my best friend Samoa Joe by progress. Or my proxy, that's what he said, not progress, proxy. And then this is where Hangman Adam Page struck a right hand, right in, having enough of his big loud mouth. Like this is where he started crawling onto the lower left corner. This is where he's like, no, I want no more. I want no more. I'm gonna stop talking. And this is where Matt Taven and Mike Bennett came for the aid of Roderick Strong, like because he does have a bad neck. But it's not as bad like he insinuated to be. But otherwise, like why would he wrestle without it when he's in the ring? I mean, like I know it's probably part of the gimmick. Like the neck brace give him more power to use. It's like charging your phone for an example. It's gonna go. You can go on and on like without the charger, but you're gonna eventually eventually your phone's gonna die like if it's down to the last few percentages like so you're gonna need to charge it like back to up like from 1 to 100% like in between there of course. I guess that's what is next. Like it's like a charging electronic like my laptop and my phone for an example. Like it can only go so much like for the next day and a half until it needs to get charged again. But anyway, this is where we do get the match, which was Hangman Adam Page taking on Roderick Strong, a dream match that I perhaps wanted to see, like ever since the Wednesday Night War, during the Wednesday Night War, when Roderick Strong was part of the Undisputed Era and Hangman Adam Page was the elite, part of the elite with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and then Roderick Strong was with Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole, baby. Anyway, where Hangman Adam Page was doing chops and punch right onto Roderick Strong, right into the upper left corner, probably being added once to Gunther's envy list, which he wants to probably want to mark Roderick Strong, but not as much as Hangman Adam Page because he really didn't step into the ring with Hangman before, so he's gonna go for him first before he does with Roddy, which he already faced Roddy. Like the last time they faced was last year when he was the leader of the Diamond Mine. But anyways, this is where Hangman Adam Page throws Roderick Strong face first right into the diagonal corner, which is the bottom right corner of the Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where Hangman Adam Page put him in a fallaway slam. This is where Hangman Adam Page does a kip up. This is where Hangman Adam Page hit a running shooting star press right in the middle of the canvas where Roderick Strong was laying at. This is where he tried to go for a pinfall, but he only got a 1-2 ooh. This is where Hangman Adam Page on his knees was on his knees. This is where Matt Taven was holding up a sign that says "Strong" like since 2000. I was like, really? Now, he may be one of the best talented professional wrestlers in the world right now. It doesn't make him the best right now when it comes to optional gimmicks. Well, I'm not sure if it's optional. Like maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe somebody's telling him like whether if it's one of the producers or like some a friend of his, or even he came up with it himself. No disrespect, not a fan of the gimmick, but I am a fan of the wrestler. But anyways, this is where Hangman Adam Page gets back up. This is where He has Roderick Strong right to the lower right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he hits a striking right forearm right into the face of the leader of Next Strong. This is where he hits the knife edge chop, adding another envy, adding his name onto the Gunther envy list. This is where Roderick Strong went back. This is where Gunther just automatically put him in since he's wrestling Hangman Adam Page, whatever that means. But this is where he'd start hitting right hands right into the face of Hangman Adam Page, start stomping onto the neck and the torso of Hangman Adam Page until Aubrey Edwards was like, "Come on, stop!" Like he's down to the into the bottom turnbuckle over here in the corner, and she did a 5-second warning, which he stopped at 3. Edward Roderick Strong picks up Hangman Adam Page off the bottom turnbuckle of the lower right corner turnbuckle. This is where he hits the sidewalk backbreaker onto Hangman. This is where he goes for a pinfall, but only got a 1.999 count. This is where he did like some kind of a hammerlock or a ripcord or a neck cord headlock, I should say, right? Grabbing his arm and twisting it right around Hangman's neck onto his left arm, I believe. This is where Matt Taven and Mike Bennett was cheering on Roddy. This is where the fans start cheering for the badass babyface Hangman Adam Page, if you can consider him as the badass. But anyway, this is where Roderick Strong dips in him. Roderick Strong dips Hangman Adam Page right from the left corner ropes to try to Irish whip him from the right hand corner side. But this is where Hangman Adam Page counters and threw him instead right into that corner. This is where Hangman Adam Page tried to go for a big boot, which he successfully executed and connected right onto the jaw of Roderick Strong. This is where Hangman Adam Page was like, so fans, what else you want me to do with this annoying ass? This is where he started listening on suggestions from the fans. So he started stomping on him. He just said, like, let me start off with this. Then he's like turned into a suplex, which he did so, and he tried to go for a pin, but he only got a 1 even count afterwards. This is where he tossed him over the top rope, right into the middle. What's that? Not in the middle. I mean the left hand apron. This is where Hangman Adam Page does a springboard right on the side on the upper corner ropes, like right through the middle ropes and grabbing on the top rope and hit the springboard clothesline, knocking him outside the ring in the left corner of the ringside area, doing it like in a springboard kind of style like Chris Jericho, of course. But this is where he grabs on the Hangman Adam Page, grabs Roderick Strong, throws him back in the ring. This is where Roderick Strong counters out of any move that Hangman Adam Page was trying to plant onto Roddy. This is where he started hitting right hands right onto the face of Hangman Adam Page, right on the top left corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where Hangman Adam Page caught him in a powerbomb position and then hit him with the. This is where he hits him with a power bomb, or the Roderick Strong counters, hits a knife edge chop. And this is where he got him right into the upper left corner. This is where Roderick Strong had him in the middle of the ring now, and this is where he started hitting double axe handles, if not triple. And this is where Hangman Adam Page got triggered somehow. But I think he probably hit a nerve, like a provocation nerve right onto the cowboy. This is where he started blocking Roderick Strong's right strikes, start hitting right strikes of his own, like repeatedly, right onto the former NXT North American champion. This is where he starts stomping on him right to his face and right on the neck of the former leader of the Next Strong. I guess you could call the Kingdom of Roderick Strong is their new faction name. This is where this is where Hangman Adam Page starts stomping the neck and the head, stomping a mud hole, clear as day, right onto Roderick Strong, right to the lower right hand corner of Tina the Turnbuckle until Aubrey Edwards had to pull him right off of him. This is where Hangman Adam Page grabs onto Roderick Strong. This is where he dips him right from the right hand corner ropes. This is where Irish whips him right from the the left-hand corner ropes, like this is where Roderick Strong hangs on to the rope. This is where the fans start chanting Cowboy Sugar Honey Iced Tea, Cowboy Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Well, I'm not sure if they say Cowboy Sugar Honey Iced Tea, but that could be a perfect Western iced tea line, like of a product at the grocery stores, like when you can sell them for like in a Western like general store, I suppose. But yeah, but they didn't say. They said the initials, of course, because of course, they would. But I'm not sure if I should say it on here, even though I said a couple of times saying bad languages, including saying the A word and saying damn, which those are two other language words that are in the custom book, of course. Or should I say the profanity book? This is where, but anyway, this is where Hangman Adam Page close on front of like over the top rope onto the left-hand corner rope where Hangman Adam Page hits a foot right into the face. This is where Hangman Adam Page try to go for a running this is where he tried to go for a running clothesline on the right. He ducks. He tried to go for a knee strike, but he caught him in the midair and hit him with my signature move, which is the most dominating move in all of sports entertainment / pro wrestling, the Death Valley Driver, which I call it the Assassin Valley Driver. But anyways, this is where he tried to go for a pinfall, but the Aubrey Edwards counted 1, Aubrey Edwards counted 2, but Roderick Strong kicks out at the last second of 2.9. Hangman Adam Page like, oh, come on. And I was like, yeah. And if I wasn't watching this show, I'll be somewhere crying right now if I heard that it if it didn't work. But obviously I wouldn't do that. That would be very ridiculous in reality perspective. But anyways, this is where Hangman Adam Page was like, come on, get up, get up. When who was it? Oh yeah, Roderick Strong right to the lower right-hand corner ropes. This is where he goes for a big haluva boot right onto Hangman. Not Hangman. Hangman does to Roderick Strong. This is where he picks up Strong, put him right on the top rope. This is where Hangman started biting the head, like taking a page out of both Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley's playbook, which I believe that's gonna get him any give him that much praise. Like with him, like he easily could shred the head of Roddy. But anyway, this is where Roderick Strong started flipping out of it, try to go for a sunset flip powerbomb onto the Cowboy. This is where this is where Hangman Adam Page counters out of the sunset flip. This is where he tried to go for a moonsault, like in general perspective. This is where he hits a powerbomb on his own, which was a sit-out pop-up powerbomb, looking like a sit-out version of Kevin Owens' finishing maneuver. But unfortunately, that didn't give him enough because Roderick Strong is soonly kicked out at 2.9999999999999 double triple 2.908 seconds away from being 3. And let's see. This is where Roderick Strong hit the elbow strike right into the back elbow strike right into the face of Hangman Adam Page. This is where he hits a Olympic slam when as soon as he got back up and counters. That's where Roderick Strong goes for a pinfall. This is where Roderick Strong goes for a Tiger Driver right onto Hangman Adam Page. Well, and this is where Hangman Adam Page kicks out of it. He turns it into a stronghold, which is probably the best name for his version of the Boston Crab, because obviously he's not from Boston. But yeah, he started doing the stronghold like he's been doing ever since he got into the wrestling business. This is where Hangman Adam Page was crawling, trying to get out of the stronghold, right off of the. I'm trying to get back up and continue this match until Like he finally did so by crawling and right to the onto the right corner ropes and grab on got a rope break. Albert had to do the 5-second wonder right on the Roderick Strong and hurt telling him that got he got onto the ropes. This is where Roderick Strong got pissed off. This is where he goes and try to go for that flip suplex right over the top ropes on the left corner side on the left corner apron, flipping onto the left corner of the ringside area, of course. This is where Hangman Page catch on to himself right onto the apron on the left corner. Hits a countering right knuckle punt or no hot shot. Yeah, whiplash hot shot right around the neck. This is where Matt Taven tried to distract Hangman Page by grabbing on his leg, but there was not much that he could do about it because he got kicked right off by the Cowboy. This is where the former NXT Cruiserweight / North American Champion tried to go for an attack to Hangman Page. But Hangman Page hit the frontward strike, elbow strike. This is where Hangman Page hit the springboard moonsault right onto Matt Taven. Went back right on the apron. This is where Mike Bennett tried to interfere when he hit another right elbow right onto Roderick Strong. This is where he tried to go back in the position. This is where Roderick Strong tried to charge and go after Hangman, and this is where Hangman hits a big boot right into Strong's face. This is where Hangman Page go right on the top rope. But it was for the Kingdoms, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett by hitting a big moonsault. Hangman Page try to go for his finishing maneuver, which is the buckshot lariat. But I guess it wasn't going to work because Roderick Strong counters out of it, and then I go for a stronghold. Hangman Page flip him right over. Hit him with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Which you got 1-2. It's where Hangman Page was very ticked off. That's where after doing such a hard working maneuver and like a hard hitting move, and it just gets kicked out instantly. But like no worries, this is where Hangman Page. This is where Hangman Page hits another one, I believe. Right. And I think he hit a second one in a row, which I believe he was double lucky. After that, he hits the dead eye and got the 1-2-3. He been declared the winner. What are your thoughts about this match with the letter of Next Strong and Hangman Page? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And do you think this match was for the Cowboy Sugar Honey Iced Tea? Or do you think it's... I do think it's way too early calling out. I do think it's way too early. And I think it was not really necessary for him to beat someone like even like Roderick Strong. But I think that he should, and he can go back right on the top and finish his feud with Swerve Strickland, as he's been talking about from the past week ever since he's been back. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Let's move on to the next next slide, which is Andrade El Idolo taking Brody King, which is the first ever that two Brew Leagues participants from AEW Collision have AEW Collision on tonight's AEW Dynamite, which was Andrade El Idolo taking on Brody King. This is the way to grapple it out, just where and this is where Brody King, this is where Brody King started grabbing onto. I've been on to Andrade. Irish whip him from the bottom corner rope to the top rope. This is where he tried to go for a shoulder tackle, but Brody King was still standing. Still not convinced. So but this where Andrade to have him in the headlock. This is where knees down. This is where Brody King picks up the leader of El Idolo. This is where Brody King his right arms right under the midsection up and dry. This is where he nearly picked up on dry, but this is where Brody King gets back up finally. This is where he puts Andrade's arm into a hammerlock position while going for a back suplex. But this is where Brody King flipped out from Andrade. This is where Andrade went back and hit a headlock right onto Brody King. This is where Brody King started counting. This is where Brody King started trying to counter. The Irish whip him right to the bottom rope. It's where Andrade tried to still hang on to the ropes, even though Uncle Smokey. What I'm saying. Until Andrade El Idolo got flipped over by Brody King. This is where Andrade put a sleeper hold right onto Brody King. He was trying to go back up. This is where he hits a big shoulder tackle when he eyes up from the bottom side ropes. This is where Brody King gets back up. This is where he started hitting right hand and left hand right onto Andrade. This is where he started hitting right hands and lefts right into the midsection. And let me tell you, I would say the Andrade and Brody King match is like the third match of the night, while second belongs to. I would say second match belongs to the Hangman versus Roderick Strong match, which, like I said, and I'll say it again, like something I look forward to at the in the vision, in my opinion, it was very such a great performance from both guys, and also. And then also, I'd say the second match of the night is definitely belonging to him, these two guys, with Brody King and Andrade. The third match of the night will be the main event with the tiebreaker, match, like with the gold leagues of the the Continental Classic tournament. And where Brody King grabs onto Andrade. Here's where he hits the striking right hand right onto the face of El Idolo. He's like, there you go. Like, you're not gonna get this win. Like, that's gonna be me. This is where he tries to Irish whip him right to the lower right corner. This is where he flips over. This is where and then this is where Here where Brody King was blindsided for a moment. This is where Andrade went right on the top rope when he was still standing. This is where he hit the ultimate comeback move in all of sports entertainment / pro wrestling. That's the crossbody. Brody King rolls out of the ring, sliding down. This is where Andrade will go in right off the apron. This is where Andrade goes for the top rope onto a moonsault. And this is where Andrade successfully do so, like if she was his wife, like he was his wife. This is where Andrade goes for a body slam, but he gets elbowed right to the back by Brody King. This is where Brody King tried to go for a body slam on Andrade. Andrade hits repeated right hands right onto. And this is where this is where this is where they went back and forth trying to hit chops on one another as well. This is where Brody King hits a knife edge, a thunderous knife edge chop in response right onto the leader of AEW. This is where he slapped him to the point that Gunther put him back on the top list of the Envy. This is where he got out there. This is where he kind of beat him up right around the area by throwing him into Bears' funeral, I should say. Until soon after getting him back in the ring, this is where he put him in multiple sleepers. This is where and then let's see, and also this is where Brody King start Irish whipping and hitting hitting his back and try to make it more worse and bad than it already was. And this is where Brody King was like I smell blood under here in the water. Like if he was a as I went with him right onto the lower right corner. This is where Brody King stalking him. He tried to go for a cannonball, but Andrade move out of the way, which I believe that was the. Or no, Andrade, he tried to go for a cannonball, but Andrade kicks the knee first right onto right on the Brody King, and he hits face first right onto the bottom team of the turnbuckle on in the match. This is where Andrade got back on his game. This is where he started hitting comeback moves. And this is where Andrade hits a. This is where he hits a crushing move. This is where he's like, ah. This is where Andrade's like, double knees. When he was in the lower right corner. Mistake. This is where Andrade tried to go for the double knees once again, but this is where Brody King tried to go for a clothesline, but Andrade ducks out of the way. This is where he kicks right in the midsection. This is where he hits set. This is where he hit. This is where Andrade went right on the top rope while when he dragged Brody King right onto the lower, mostly the lower left corner, I believe. That's where he hits a double dipped springboard leg and moonsault. This is where this is where I tried again. I can't hear. This is where Andrade was breathing heavy. This is where he said like, what's the next plan to do to take down the powerhouse Punisher of the House of Black. This is where Andrade try to go for the double knees maneuver again, but I'm not sure if that knee aim kind of maneuver it was going to work because when he tried to go for it, he got interrupted by the animal the animal, I mean, the animal of the House of Black faction, I should say. This is where this is where this is where it's that running crossbody. This is where I try to go for the pin on onto Andrade, but he only got a 2.9999999999999 double triple nines, 200 and 200. I mean, 0.1 away from being three. My apologies. I'm just getting a little tired and a little exhausted. But yeah. But yeah, I can still do this video still despite it. But this is where he got a guaranteed, but this is where he got a guaranteed hits a cannonball right on Andrade. It really going to have another win, right? Tying the likes of we're tying the likes of Brian Danielson and even Brian Danielson and Andrade. He thought, or no, Andrade. Me tying his foe Andrade by being two-time. This is where Brody King was sitting there. I was like, what the hell? How did he kick out so easily from the closest count in all the professional wrestling / sports entertainment? This is where Brody King tried to go for a razor's edge power bomb. This is where I'm hitting kicks right into the midsection of Brody King. This is where it started hitting this is where they started hitting punches and chops at one another, like respectively. This is where they started doing it to the point that they add them to the list like more and more often, which they'll probably see the Austrian face them, and then they make sure to finish the job. Something that neither wrestling fan. This is where Brody King goes put his hand up. This is where he tried to go for his running clothesline from the gates of hell. This is where Andrade does that boot dodging elbow strike like he normally do, right into the back. This is where he brought him down for a while. This is where Brody King put Andrade right on the top rope, but he pushed him right off onto the apron. This is where Brody King also continued to grabs onto Andrade El Idolo, but this is where Andrade hit the knife edge chop into a counter. This is where he tried to go on the top rope, but he gets double axe or single axe handled by the biggest powerhouse of the Jericho Appreciation. And then this is where Brody King tried to go for a suplex right off the top rope. This is where Andrade counters out of the way by countering it and hits a shoulder blade hit right onto the middle of the ring. Like, so I didn't have to so not my bad. What I'm saying, I don't know. I think I remember what it was, but I forget right now. But anyway, this is where Andrade pulls on the Brody King's arm, like shoulder first, right onto the turnbuckle. Was and then this is where he tried to. It's where Andrade tried to get out of the suplex, but this is where Brody King tried to continue to do the maneuver and try to insist out of Andrade's decline. It's where Andrade counters and then hits like a DDT like maneuver right on the top turnbuckle. This is where Andrade counters out of it. This is where Andrade roll out of it. Hits a hammerlock DDT on the Brody King and got the 1, 2, 3. And I guess that nearly rhymes, so I guess that's nearly true. And yeah. What's your thoughts about this match with them? Do you think it's the third match of the night or even the number one match of the night? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. But let's move. I'll be right back. I'm gonna move on to the next one. But before I go, I'm gonna find something to keep me awake. Okay, I'm kind of awake right now. Eating a little candy and drink some soda, so I can get ready to recall the match because I was tripping over my words a little bit. But luckily, I managed to talk about it. You can continue dozing off, but yeah, Andrade Elo won that, scoring 3 more points, a third time in a row. Wait, three times three equal. Yes, sir, ma'am. It is number 9. What? Well, it should have been up there. Because then we had a chance from 2.5 weeks ago because him and Brian Dennison never had a chance of fighting 2.5 weeks ago. That way, for 2 weeks later, they have their match, which they finally had this past week on round 3 of the Blue League's Continental Classic tournament. And but yeah, but Andrade beat the likes of Daniel Garcia, Brian Danielson, and now Brody King, and he remained undefeated. That's why both Brian, John Moxley, and Swerve Strickland. But what was your prediction between John Moxley and what you thought about who's gonna win between John Moxley and what's it Swerve Strickland? Let me know down in the comments below. But you got some promo segment. Up next, we're gonna move on with the promo segment between Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Address why did Kenny Big Bill and Ricky Starks attacked him for the past couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? With Jericho and Omega, who should go first? But they were commenting and respectfully, no, you go first. No, you go first. Jericho started the promo. Anyway, it's been a while. We've been there. It's because of Big Bill and Ricky Stark brutally attacking us from behind. And he's like, they attacked me at full gear. They attacked me to dislocate my elbow. Like I've been out for 3 weeks, and then this past Saturday with Kenny Omega, it was this great match against Ethan Page, and he had his big bodyguard kicks him in the face. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of this. The dude, two cowards not coming face to face, of course. It's been 3 weeks of I've been wanting to say, and Bill and Ricky start to. I forget what. All right, Like I'm saying, this is where he calls him out, saying like almost to say, "Hey boys, get your two sorry asses out here, right now." That's where Ricky Starks and Big Bill finally came out of there, like finally doing something that Jericho requested for them to do. And here's where Ricky Starks like, did you miss me, Jericho? This was, and he's like, most important, did you miss me, AEW Galaxy? And their fans are like, no. And here's where Ricky Starks was like, I don't know what you two clowns are doesn't like that for, and also. And this is where Jericho was like, but oh yeah, before this is where he's like, look, give it up to Big Billy Starks. It was very hilarious, which it made me well sports entertained, and it was perhaps the goofiest wrestling of the night, or in the segment, of course. But anyway, this is where and this is where and also and this is where Excalibur also added that Billy Starks is going to face Athena at the final battle onto the Ring of Honor's final pay-per-view in 2023, which that was a pretty good line. Big Billy Starks, like they're looking like a separate hybrid of Billy Starks, right? Perhaps. And this is where Ricky Starks said, I can excuse that name, but I cannot excuse you, Jared. And he was like, I understand why you like. I cannot excuse the fact that you just went on a local hot topic about saying, hey, give me the best stuff you got. And then this is where Jericho's like, listen, man, like if you're son of a clown vampire, like believe me, I'll be like, is that a reference to Danhausen? Like, who knows? Like, you never say never in pro wrestling, I suppose. But this is where Chris Jericho's like, and he's like, if I want somebody to bite my neck and suck if I want to bite somebody's neck and suck my things on, to that's a lot more clout. That's a lot more clout than you. Like, and he was like, all I see is a better dressed version of. He's like, all I see is best dressed, charismatic version of Enzo Amore. Like, considering he's the leader of the duo group between him and Big Bill. Like, which I'll say, hey, like comes to think of it, it's kind of similar to Big Bill's days as Big Cass in WWE when he teamed with Enzo Amore, when they always come out of the ring, except he doesn't do trash talk unless he's in a backstage interview or promo, rather than cut a short weekly routine like promo saying, my name is Enzo Amore, and I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this guy right here is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Like, well, basically, he don't do. Fans were like, oh, and that was a good line. Like, just as good, like top 3 out of the MJF's promo and Adam Copeland, with MJF saying, you look like a dollar store version of Dwayne. And then Adam Copeland called him a short midget version of The Rock. But this is where Kenny Omega try to get to the point. He's like, whoa. But you got to admit, Jericho, we got to give him credit when it's due. And that, like, at least he gives half the credit to Big Bill, and not instead of not all the spotlight, like for the fact that that's what Enzo Amore did. He got trying to get all the spotlight, even for this team with Big Bill. Big Bill's known as just the bodyguard, while Big Bill's another star, is a star alongside Ricky Starks, and that's why they're the tag team champions. I was like, I gotta agree with Omega, because when he teamed with Enzo Amore, they never won not even a single title reign as the tag team champions. I mean, most of it's not their fault. Like, it's just the management at the other company at the time did not see them as potential champions. But anyway, this is where Ricky, this is where this is where Ricky Starks is like, well, I see you guys are taking up all the spotlight right here. You two old men right here. My people. And he's like, but you gotta know one thing, like from me, like I can make any of the good jokes that y'all want right now. Like you talk about the way I dress, you talk about, right? You talking about you talk about the way I dress, and then we're talking about what the Big Bill's like, and then and talk that, and then and nobody doesn't care. You know, he says that you got everything on the bag. Like nobody cares. Nobody don't give a damn what you say, Chris. Like Big Bill doesn't care. Like, nobody around this in the arena doesn't care what you have under your bag, or inside your bag, I should say. And he's because I'm getting sick and tired of you and Kenny. Like again, I'm talking about you, Kenny, too. Like you piss me off, brother. Like he's like, if we want the war between, like if y'all want the war with me and Big Bill, like bring it in on AEW World's End, which they confirmed that, which they made it official, will be the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Omega and Kenny Omega taking on Ricky Starks and Big Bill for the All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team Championship. Who do you think's gonna win? How much y'all decide in the comments, but I'll say my personal opinion and I'll say my personal prediction. I'm predicting that it's gonna be Jericho and Omega. The Golden Jets are gonna do the shock of the decade, if not century, in pro wrestling, and actually win in an unpredictable moment, and they'll be the new All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team Championship. It's all about I'm sucking on a chewy lemon head so I can have the sugars going on and I can have more energy, which is starting to work slowly but surely. But and this way, like if you think you got something better than me, Big Bill, like prove it. YouTube, you two winded scumbags, and then this is where Omega responds. He's like scumbag. Like now that you brought up the big guns, like you might sit in the stool for that a little bit. So much like those tag team championships, I think you should be betting a due. Or bidding a due as you do. Like I'm gonna bid each and every one of you, and you, Ricky Stark, and you, Big Bill. I'm gonna. It's like I'm gonna kiss all you goodbye. Mwah. That's what he did. So this is where, and he's like, and good night to you. Bang bang. Well, he didn't say bang. He said bang and ba-bang. That's what he said. Yeah, that's what Kenny Omega said in the reply to Ricky Stark and Big B. This is where Jericho's I'll see. Jericho also added saying, "All right, I'm gonna see. We're gonna see you two in December 30th, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and we'll see a new All Elite Wrestling Tag Team Champion." Which it was confirmed. That's where we got a recap of what happened with Shayna Wayne helping Christian Cage helping him of turning heel and help Christian Cage retain his AEW TNT Championship, which we never had an explanation of tonight. Let's hope on Rampage or even AEW Collision, or even next week's Dynamite that we get an add up to this add up on why she attacked Adam Copeland, which half the reason we probably know why. But for now, this is where we had Timeless Tony Storm coming out, sitting with the commentary because it was Riho taking on Tony Storm's former ally of her time in the Outcast, Ruby Soho. So this match started with Riho. With Riho trying to hit the three amigos right onto Ruby Soho. She only got one amigo, but this is where Ruby Soho counter out of it. Ruby Soho tried to go for a clothesline, but Riho instantly ducked right out of the way. And this is where Ruby Soho spinned around. Here's where she got shoved by her. This is where she outsmarted Ruby Soho by running right behind her, right through the ropes. This is where Riho tried to go for a wheelbarrow, like a wheelbarrow slide into a double foot stomp right into the midsection of Ruby Soho. But Riho then, one down and one more to go. Well, I'll say two more to go because you still have to worry about Saraya and Tony Storm, even though Tony Storm is no longer with the Outcast, but she's still looking for revenge, and they're still somewhat similar in a way. Like even though they're no longer allied, the Outcast is no longer allies with Tony Storm. But this is where Ruby Soho goes right on the mid ropes, like try to go for a mid rope avalanche German suplex on the Riho, but she was grabbing onto the top pole turnbuckle support, the Majig. This is where she started hitting striking back elbow strikes right onto the head and the face of Ruby Soho. This is where Riho tried to go for a double foot stomp when she was in the tree of woe position, but she was really hanging off just on the ropes on the top rope. This is where Riho got back on her feet, raising her hand up in the air. And this is where they show, right before they show the picture-in-picture commercial break, this is where we look at a black and white graphic of Timeless Tony Storm looking in the camera, which surprisingly she didn't say after these and very important messages. But this is where here's where also but yeah, eventually this is where Ruby Soho tried to go for a kick. This is where she tried to run and try to hit a striking maneuver running from the right hand corner ropes. This is where Riho counters, hits a striking shining wizard knee strike. This is where Ruby Soho enters back with a right forearm right to the face. This is where Ruby Soho tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where Riho slides onto her arms, like with her legs on her left arm and her arms on her right arm. This is where he tried to go for a crucifix slam, but she turned her over into a normal pin, which she flipped up, but she only got a 2.2 count. This is where Riho goes right on the top rope. It's like, yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand finale. This is where she goes right on the top rope. This is where Ruby Soho, this is where Tony Storm's like, why never? How dare she mocks the timeless Tony Storm? And this is where Riho tried to go for the double foot stomp. This is where Ruby Soho hits the no future Soho kick. This is where Riho fell flat on the ground. This is where Ruby Soho goes for a 1, goes for a 2. It looked like she was about to win with the 3, but this is where Riho got her left shoulder up right before Aubrey Edwards could even put her hand right on the mat. 2.99999999999 to double triple 9. This is where Ruby Soho tried to go for that Sister Abigail move, but it's a different kind of move. This is where Riho tried to go for the double Nelson lock. This is where Ruby Soho countered out of it, hit the guillotine right onto the guillotine right onto Riho. This is where she hits her with she countered into a hip suplex, try to go for a pin, but this is where Aubrey Rose counts 1, count to 2, but Ruby Soho kicks out at 2.4. This is where it was a guaranteed for Riho to hit the full Nelson Snapmare Dragon, not Snapmare, Snapdragon suplex. Like, even though I'm not sure if it's her signature or finishing move or any of those selections of her move whatsoever. But yeah, that was a guaranteed by hitting the second attempt by successfully executing it. This is where Riho was like, dude, I down. This is where he hits the double. This is where she hits the double knee strike right onto Ruby Soho for the 1-2-3, sending the message 2 times Toni Storm. Perhaps she's the next challenger. And do you think Riho could win the championship and become a third ever 2-time AEW Women's Championship? Y'all let me know straight down in the comments down below. But I think at World's End it will be Riho it is Riho. Some tells me it will be Riho against Toni Storm. But I think timeless Toni Storm's going to win. And don't get me wrong, Riho's very talented, but she's not showing any spark that shows that she's going to be the next women's world champion by dethroning anybody, whether it's Hikaru Shida, timeless Toni Storm, or even Saraya, like anybody in the women's division. But this is where we got a vignette of Wardlow now saying, with him like doing a power bomb and knocking out like the likes of Ryan Nemeth, Griff Garrison, and Matt Sydal and others, and even AR Fox too, and the Swanton bomb on AR Fox. And Willie Mack, who's like, there's not going to be not even a single, like, I'm going to get what I want, and I am the animal that I am, that I claim I am, and I'm going to release it on my opponents every time I step foot in that ring. And if I have to go to every single wrestler on the roster, I sure will, to get my opportunity to become AEW World Champion. Well, he didn't say anything about AEW World Championship, but this is where he, and just like the Archangel Michael, I will be the one to bring the devil to his knees. And I'm gonna send him to hell. Who was it? I think it was either Michael or Gabriel that threw the devil out of heaven. But yeah, enough about that right now. That's a story for another day. But this is just an analogy that like an analogy example that Wardlow was making when he was doing a video package promo vignette. This vignette promo. He's like I said, this reign of terror is coming to an end. And I think he thinks he's more of Batista by dethroning MJF, which he probably thinks he's like Triple H, like in his time in 2005, I should say, like when Batista won that year's Royal Rumble and challenged him for the World Heavyweight Champion at the time. And do you think Wardlow is going to be in a similar scenario storyline, just like Batista, except this storyline is going to be brought to AEW rather than being in World Wrestling Entertainment? But let's move on to the next slide, which is this is where we got Roosh taking on Jay Lethal now. Like they start locking in their arms like by foot, like like do it like this. They dodge each other's blows. Like when they try to go for a fist on collision. This is where Roosh hits a splash right on the Jay Lethal, hits a knife edge chop, a nasty knife edge chop, which Gunther's still keeping the eyes on Roosh because Roosh wants the devil in the face him really bad, especially for the fact that his brother's in WWE, and he's probably going to use him as a warm up, do a warm up chop on, like when he faces him in a match, if he ever faces Dragon Lee, like either if it's SmackDown or Raw. But I think he's gonna use him as a warm up until he gets to his brother, the the leader of Flakion, I believe that's his name, Flaxion. But this is where Jay Lethal answered back, Irish whipping Roosh right onto the lower left hand corner, hits a knife edge chop, which was very nasty to hear, right onto his chest, which I believe Gunter's keeping an eye on Jay Lethal as well, as much as he does with Roosh, Brian Danielson, John Moxley, and Eddie Kingston. He's got him next on the list. This is where he snapmares Roosh like right off the bottom left corner of the turnbuckle. Hits a cartwheel while snapmaring him and hit a drop kick right in the side of his head. When Jay Lethal's getting ready to do that country style and profiling walk, and he's like, and he put the peace signs up like if he is Chad Gable. And this is where he's like, you get blow that, which I believe he's taking it also not only a shot on Gunther, but also on Chad Gable too, which I would say I wouldn't be surprised that he will have a envy list as well for trying to low blow his phrase and his hand movement of a thank you. But anyways, this is where he tried to go for a short attack on the Roosh. Roosh pushes him right to the left corner rope where he was running towards. Hits a slingshot German suplex right off the left corner ropes. This is where he hits a thunderous clothesline right on the Jay Lethal, which he rolled under the lower corner, under the ropes on the lower corner of the ring. This is where Roosh comes from the left corner of the ringside area. This is where he goes heading to the bottom corner of the ringside area. This is where he hits Jay Lethal right onto the bottom corner turnbuckle. This is where he hits a thunderous of forearm. I'll say thunderous. I'll say a very brutal forearm right to the jaw of Jay Lethal. Hits him face first right onto Alan the announce table, continuing those chops without giving no cares. Like more than Jey Uso doesn't give a damn what his cousin, the tribal chief Roman Reigns, have to say. This is where Roosh went right on to hit another chop repeatedly because I think he's trying to call out Gunther because he started doing it so much. This is where he started licking his hands and started hitting more of a chop so he could have more of a moistening sting right onto the chest of Black Machismo, the former Black Machismo. This is where he started repeatedly hitting chops, absolutely like more and more, until he got down to the ground into the upper left corner. This is where he started stomping on the shoulders of Jay Lethal. This is where Roosh went right from the bottom right corner. This is where he tried to go for the double clothesline, but I think he fooled Jay Lethal. He stepped right in front of him. He was like, like that's where he hits a very touche kick right to the shoulder, which he fooled the former Ring of Honor World Champion. This is where he started hanging on, like doing like Andrade, doing like this, right, hanging onto the middle of the canvas. This is where Jay Lethal tried to charge at the leader of El Faction. This is where he hits a thunderous power slam right on to Jay Lethal, but only got a 2 even count. This is where Roosh tried to think outside the box, like with him put him right on the top rope onto the upper right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he hits a rare right hand chop right into the chest. This is where Jay Lethal hits a fist right into the gut. This is where he started hitting the knife edge chop right onto Roosh. Like this is where Jay Lethal's like, yes, I got him where I want him. This is where he tried to hit. This is where Jay Lethal tried to go for his double foot stomp dive. This is where he tried to charge at Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal grabs on him, hit a backbreaker of a lethal combination and hit him back first like into a face buster, which he calls it the lethal combination. This is where he's like now I'm back in my game. Like I can do this. This is where Jay Lethal grabs onto this is where he grabs on the Roosh's left leg. He's like, woo! Like it's where he trying to hit one of his idols, this finishing maneuver, which is the figure four. I always sure to call him an idol. Well, perhaps so because of him being inspired like the likes of Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage. So I would say maybe so. But then again, yeah, this is where he started trying to go for the figure four. But this is where Roosh rolls him up into the surprise roll up into a 1 and a 2. But Jay Lethal counters out of it. This is where Jay Lethal kicks him right in the cut. This is where he runs right from the left. It looked like he was about to go for the lethal injection, but this is where he just run right through the ropes because he knew that Bruce was coming right through the same ropes. This is where Jay Lethal tried to go for wait for him, trying to hit him with a slam or some kind of maneuver, but this is where he gets hit a nasty chop, like which probably makes Gunther very heated and angry right now at Bruce or anywhere at where he's staying at, of course, like jokingly speaking, of course. But anyways, this is where Jay Lethal tried to go for a charging clothesline right onto Roosh, but this is where he does try to hit a drop kick, but this or it was a super kick, but he gets nailed with a super kick right into the midsection, I believe, onto like Bruce gets super kicked by Jay Lethal, of course. It's where he tried to go for a running splash right onto Roosh. This is where Roosh counters. It's a belly-to-belly suplex like Drew McIntyre style, like the way he does the maneuver. Like it was something similar towards that. This is where Roosh was like, knees. This is where the fans were over him. This is where it's like, woo, 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 woo. How roaring for Roosh. This is where he tried to go for the double drop kick right into the face, but this is where Jay Lethal counters out of it, hits a super kick right in the middle of the canvas. This is where Jay Lethal tried to go for the lethal injection. This is where Roosh counters out of it into the big sleeper hold, locked in right on the Lethal. This is where he tried to make him tap out, which he did so, which some tells me he's like a match away from being eliminated. Even if Jay Lethal does score 3 points, that's the only points he's getting, and he'd probably be eliminated. But yeah, Roosh is your winner. Congratulations to him as well, along with Mr. Who was it? Jay White, I believe. Yeah. But not yet. Yeah, but yeah, let's talk about that match, which I'll say, yeah, congratulations to Roosh. And what's your thoughts about Roosh winning this match and perhaps gave no chance to Mr. Jay Lethal on getting back and making a huge comeback onto this Gold League tournament. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to the next match, which is Jay White against Mark Briscoe, and we also had some hype vignettes with Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley because they are undefeated in 9-0, like of scoring 9 points like on each match, like each match they are in respectively, except on to each other, which we're gonna figure out who's gonna be the tiebreaker in the main event of tonight's AEW Dynamite. But this is where we move on to the next match, which is Jay White against Mark Briscoe. This is where Mark Briscoe was bringing a comeback, like even hitting his Briscoe elbow drop when he got Jay White down. This is where he rolls out of the ring. This is where Mark Briscoe was like, "Oh, come on!" It's like, you can't be serious. This is where he hit the suicide dive, I believe. This is where he starts stomping on the head and neck of the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. This is where he throws him back in the ring. Like, even though he's having trouble, but he's like, you know what, forget it. He's going to hit a chop. Like, he would take a page out of Roosh's playbook, not caring about Gunther being angry at him and also adding him to the envy list. This is where Mark Briscoe hits a right hand, a knuckle uppercut right into the left jaw of Jay White. This is where Mark Briscoe throws him back in the ring. This is where he runs back in the ring as well. This is where Mark Briscoe was stalking the former IWGP World Champion, like turning him around, try to go for the running Uranagi slam, but this spinning Uranagi, but Jay White elbows out of it. This is where he tried to do a running attack move, like up on to right through the top corner ropes. But this is where not Jay Briscoe, his brother that's still alive, right? Which is rest in peace to his brother Jay Briscoe. But Mark Briscoe hits a back elbow right to the face of Jay White. This is where he picks him up right onto the fireman's carry. But this is where Jay White started hitting elbows to the head of Mark Briscoe. This is where he hits a right knuckle punch right when he was still standing onto the top corner turnbuckle, the hardest part of the ring apron, more harder than my nephew's Mario Brothers Nintendo Switch controller. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, this is where Mark Briscoe, as soon as Jay White went back in the ring, this is where Mark Briscoe hits a very powerful knife edge chop, which he earned himself number one into Gunther's envy list, like over the others that was on top before in the AEW episodes. This is where he started hitting a thunderous, I don't say thunderous, more like a lightning bolt forearm or front elbow strike right into the face of Jay White. This is where he tried to close on him outside the ring with getting the fans all hyped up for it. This is where before you have a chance to put his arm around his neck, this is where Jay White counters and hits an exploder suplex, flipping him right over the top rope, outside, right off the top corner apron, which is, like I said, the hardest part of the ring, like something what Simon Miller and Nathan, the stage creator, would say. But this is where Jay White picks up Mark Briscoe, Irish whipping him right into the back first, right onto Barry Barricade, which that's kind of disrespecting his tombstone, which I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, he hitting him repeatedly right there. And I'll say this was definitely the fourth match of the night, along with the likes of Roderick Strong taking on Andrade El Idolo taking on Hangman Adam Page and Roderick Strong, third match of the night, and then Andrade El Idolo and Brody King, and then the main event with Jon Moxley and Swerve Strickland, which I'm gonna let y'all to be the judge of that in the comments down below, and y'all rank it like I'm gonna say just a moment. This is where Jay White hits a. But anyway, this is where he hits a drop when they got back in the ring. This is where Jay White hits a drop kick right on the left knee of Mark Briscoe. This is where he gets a running DDT right onto the former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion. This is where he tried to go for the pin on Mark Briscoe, but this is where he kicks out at 2 even. This is where Jay White said like what's that chop that you just did, Mark? This was like what you just did. Like this is where he started hitting chops right back at him, trying to beat at it Gunther's envy list. It's like if AEW wrestlers like that, just to have a reaction from the ring general. But anyways, this is where he got neck cord headlock right on the Mark Briscoe, but he was getting back up. He's like, I gotta win this. This is my final chance, or I'm possibly gonna be eliminated next week. Even if I do get a win that next Wednesday, I still gotta try. I still try. This is where it's like, come on, I need to get. When the referee was counting both him and Jay White when they were down in the ring until they got back up. This is where he made a huge comeback with Mark Briscoe going for close on, big boot to the face onto Jay White when he was hanging on the top corner apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, which I said about 1,000,002 times. Now this is where Mark Briscoe goes right on the top of the corner of the apron. This is where he hits a dive like right off of it by doing his pose like to get a thunderous ovation from the fans, with him sliding down and hits a big elbow drop right onto Jay White. This is where he throws Jay White back in the ring. This is where he He tried to go for the 3. This is where the referee counted the 1, counted the 2, but this is where Jay White kicks out at 2.7. This is where Mark Briscoe was getting ready to, I believe, hit his finishing maneuver right onto Jay White. Him trying to go. It was Splash Mountain, which I'm not sure if it's a signature or finishing maneuver, but it was the Splash Mountain. But Jay White counters out of it, hits another chop, like pisses off Gunther even more. This is where Mark Briscoe starting to hit a chop right onto on him back, like making the ring general Gunther's blood boil. That's what his name is. My apologies for the train of thought. But anyways, this is where they start repeatedly hitting chops in a chop battle, which I'm not sure if they would survive with Gunther when they step up in the ring in a chop battle. I'm like, and if they do get in a match with Gunther, like along with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, I'm gonna be saying, "I told you so." But anyways, which I'm not sure if I should be laughing when it happens. But anyways, this is where they try to go for a top rope avalanche maneuver onto Jay White as soon as Mark Briscoe put him right on the upper left corner top turnbuckle. This is where Jay White counters out of it, hits a slap and a chop right across the chest and the face of him. And this is where he got off the top rope. This is where he tried to go for an attack, but this is where Mark Briscoe ducks out of the way, hits a back, hits like a grab him right time, looked like about to go for a back suplex, but he put him right onto the top rope, back onto the upper left corner. This is where he hits a big thunderous chop, which it really was a thunderous one, like up in the heavens. This is where Mark Briscoe was getting ready to hit the Mountain's Edge. No, it was like that, whatever it's called, like the Mountain End, like which was a guaranteed, even though it came from the top rope, but it didn't matter because as long as it's the same move, you're going to get a guaranteed the second time when you try to execute it. This is where you try to go for the pin, but it wasn't enough to put away the switchblade because this is where he kicks out at 2.9999999999999 double triple nines, 0.1 away from being 3. And it looks like he's about to join his best friend Jay Lethal into the losing club because as soon as he try to go for his move all over again, like for the third time to see if it's a charm. But that depends if he had a lucky clover on him, like to make it a charm, like from that's around the ring, even though he's not a leprechaun. But it's where he, or was it like a tiger driver, like a tiger? That's what it was. This is where Jay White grabs onto the leg, hits him with a dragon screw, and this is where he was still hanging on to Mark Briscoe's leg, and then spinning it back, twisting it hard, and bending him down to the canvas. This is where Jay White got back up. This is where he picks up the former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion. This is where he tried to go for a DDT, but this is where he gets rammed right into the upper left corner of Tina the turnbuckle. This is where he starts start ramming and spearing the midsection and torso of Jay White right through between the top turnbuckle and the middle turnbuckle of the corner. This is where they start continuing to hit chops once again, but on one another respectively. This is where Mark Briscoe try to go for a clothesline. He ducks, hit him with a sleeper snapmare, a snapdragon. That's what it's a snapdragon suplex. This is where Jay White was like guns then switchblades down, and this is where he's like, and you're about to get shot and about to get shredded because he tried to go for the Blade Runner. This is where he flips out. This is where Jay Briscoe flips out of it. What was the name of the move? It was like a mixture of a Uranagi and a back suplex spinning around. This is where he did so perfectly. This is where he went around the lower left corner of the ring. This is where he tried to go for that Briscoe elbow drop, which it wasn't a guarantee because he kicked because Jay White puts his knees up right before he could even hit the elbow drop. Because earlier in the match he hit the elbow drop, like I told you he did. This is where Jay White got back up, took advantage, hits him with the Blade Runner, got the uno dos tres, or should I say 1, 2, 3 in English, of course, and he got the win, scoring 6 points, I believe. What was it, 6 or was it? No, it was 9. It was 9. My apologies. But speaking of nines, this is where we see who's going to be the tiebreaker, who's going to tie with Jay White next. But they'll still be second place, even though one of these men scores 3 more points, being 12 points in the lead. Well, next up we got the main event, or it's time for the main event, like what Mark Henry would usually say on Rampage, which it was the main event of tonight's AEW Dynamite, which it was Jon Moxley taking on the former NXT North American Champion and AEW World Tag Team Champion, whose house? Swerve's house, Swerve Strickland, and of course there was plenty of advertisements for a week from this. Oh no, it was no, a week from. Oh yeah, a week from this Friday, I believe. Yeah, which is the Iron Claw movie, which they were advertising it like all like the whole time when it was a commercial break, at least once at a time. And what's your thoughts? And are you going to see the new Iron Claw movie, like I always talk about on the wrestling news video? Let me know down in the comments below. But we're going to talk about the main event recap right now, which was my prediction was totally the match of the night. But let's start off with Jon Moxley battling out with the former the AEW Tag Team Champion. With Prince Nana entering the stage with him, but like doing the swerve when he drive dance, like, and he also with when I get doing that swerve when he drive dance because that's what he does when he drives. Like that's because he can't drive. That's why he always takes those $600 Uber rides, I should say, which I just kind of rhymed there without even trying. But anyways, this is where we had them battle it out. This is where but until Jon Moxley got Swerve Strickland down on his feet. This is where down or off his feet, I should say, with double F's rather than an N. But anyway, this is where he tried to go for the middle ropes. This is where Swerve Strickland got back up, hits a knife edge chops, which I'm not sure if Gunther did not like that either, which I don't think he really had a chance to face Gunther in his time in WWE. So he's going to provoke him up by doing the chop right on to Jon Moxley. This is where he goes for the pin onto Jon Moxley afterwards by knocking him off the mid ropes. But he only got a 2 even count. This is where Jon Moxley will have to take a breather. This is where Swerve Strickland followed him out there like a creepy stalker. This is where he started hitting the right hand right onto the left. Right onto the left, onto the left side of his head. But I would say maybe a harassing menace, I should say, rather than saying something that's kind of redundant at the moment. But this is where he hits him right into the ring post, right onto the upper right-hand corner of the ring post. This is where he made Jon Moxley sit down onto that chair by the barricade, onto the upper right-hand corner. This is where he put his knee or his foot right onto the neck of Mox by flexing on his right arm muscle, like if he was a Black Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. This is where Swerve Strickland throws Jon Moxley back in the ring. This is where he picks up Jon Moxley. This is where That's where the fans start chanting Swerve's catchphrase saying, "Whose house? Swerve's house." Well, they said it like in a crowdful voice, like, "Whose house? Swerve's house." But anyways, this is where he placed John Moxley right on the upper right-hand corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. Irish whipping him to the diagonal side corner, right into the lower right corner. Not right, the lower left corner, I mean, until John Moxley bounced off of it, hits a running clothesline like if he was Randy Orton. This is where John Moxley's like, you're finished, Swerve. Your undefeated streak of winning the Continental Classic tournament is about to be in a cold end. And I was like, he might have a point because he is number one. And he's the first one that was getting the wins 3 times in a row before Swerve did. So I think he could win. But then again, like Swerve Strickland's one of the favorites in his own right. Perhaps probably the number one favorite. Like even though he's like second and tied with John Moxley. This is where John Moxley went up, grabbed onto his head. This is where John Moxley was hitting right hand right onto the noggin of Swerve Strickland repeatedly, with fans counting along with him. And yeah, you know the rules. Like when either of the Blackpool Combat Club members, whether if it being Willer Yuta, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, if they face against heel wrestlers, they're going to be acting like badass baby faces. But if they're facing baby face, they're going to act like cold-hearted a-hole heels, of course. Yeah. So that's what he was acting like the first thing I explained, like which was being a badass babyface, because John Moxley was doing so by continuing to be like a modern day AEW version of Stone Cold Steve Austin, will open up a can of whoop ass right onto Swerve Strickland. And after he hit those 10 shots right into the head of Swerve Strickland, he started biting onto the head of him like he always likes doing, like to make his matches more hardcore than ever. Something that he hardly got the chance to do when in his time in WWE, which hopefully I don't get some copyright strikes on this on my YouTube channel by mentioning WWE on the AEW review, especially Gunther too. My apologies. It's just all part of the job. My own custom version of my own custom of being a journalist of myself for myself and for the people that are interested in watching videos like this, like these wrestling reviews. But anyways, this is where John Moxley, after he did that, he hits a big suplex and then goes for a pinfall. But this is where Swerve Strickland kicks out at 2.1. This is where John Moxley grabs on the two of Swerve Strickland's arms, like around his wrist, and try to go for the repeated foot stomp right to the head, like his Blackpool Combat Club teammate Bryan Danielson would have done. But this is where Swerve Strickland throws him out of the ring and counters, like throwing him out into the left corner side of the ringside area. This is where Swerve Strickland hits a springboard right on John Moxley, but this is where he moved right out of the way, landed right onto the left corner apron. This is where John Moxley trips over Swerve right between the apron with the left leg in the apron banter, and then the right leg still outside of the apron banner, like with him landing on his jewels right into the middle part of the banner. Of course, this is where John Moxley started hitting right forearms right into the face of Swerve Strickland and lift up the banner and went right up his jewels, like you were doing it repeatedly, like you would do on SmackDown versus Raw 2010, like when you put your opponents right on the top of the ropes and you start rolling it up and down, that's how John Moxley was doing to Swerve Strickland, like in a cowboy position, I should say. This is where John Moxley Irish whips Swerve Strickland right onto the upper left-hand corner of Simba the Steel Steps with a hammerlock Irish whip right into that corner. This is where John Moxley had Swerve Strickland back in the ring. This is where he tried to go for a half chicken wing kind of maneuver, but Swerve Strickland let go have his left hand free and hit a big left hand right to the face of Moxley to let go of his right arm. This is where he tried to run and charge at Moxley, but he barely did so. And that gave Moxley more of the advantage. And he hit the striking clothesline right out of nowhere to bring down the former AEW Tag Team Champion. This is where he goes for a pinfall on the John Moxley, but this is where he only kicks out at 2.2 seconds. This is where Moxley's like, "Oh, you think this is my first rodeo, like Swerve?" Like, I don't think so. But this was probably my best impression of John Moxley I have ever done. If I ever imitated his voice before, well, I did it now. Like he was like, "No, like I'm about to finish you and remain undefeated." This is where John Moxley started kicking on the head of Swerve Strickland. This is where he repeatedly do so, like double whammy onto Swerve. This is where he tried to grab on the tights of Swerve. This is where Swerve kicks him off, kicks his head off. This is where he hits a. This is where he tried to. This is where he tried to go for another kick, some kind of a kick move. But this is where John Moxley tried to kick him right in the gut. He grabs and he flips his leg right over his head. This is where he puts it on the other side of his shoulder until he did like try to go for some kind of a back. Like some kind of a back breaker or belly to back breaker, I should say. Like looked like he was about to do like a Regal's Plex. This is where Swerve Strickland runs right through after he did this, he went right through the lower corner ropes, hits a running axe handle, and then he hits a second one in a row. And this is where he had placed into the upper right corner. This is where he hits an elbow right to the head of Moxley, hits a snapmare, went right on the mid rope, hits a back elbow. A back elbow right into the back of John Moxley, and this is where he started doing the Justin Jefferson dance. That's what. Yeah, I was like, man, like this is getting very viral. Like I would never thought a wrestler would do a dance that a football player would that created in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings when he made that touchdown. That touchdown when Kirk Cousins threw it to him in the end zone. He started doing this. Like this, yeah, basically. This is where. But Swerve Strickland did his own version of it, like Swerve's house. This is where he picks up John Moxley, hits a silent knife edge chop, which Gunther will give that a pass, but he's still gonna have envy against the former NXT North American champion. This is where he picks up John Moxley. This is where he tried to go for a half Nelson Snapdragon, but this is where John Moxley flips him right over off the upper right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he was laying on it until Swerve Strickland slides right back, hits a striking forearm right to the head of John Moxley. Flips him right over, right onto the. This is where he snapmares him back into the middle of the canvas. This is where he tried to go for a rolling. What's that? Pay dirt. But this is where John Moxley did the most shocking thing I would never see him do, was that he hits a surprising Mox cutter when he rolled in the same manner as Swerve did. Like they did the roll. This is where he tried to go for the face buster pay dirt. This is where Moxley went out of nowhere, hit a Mox cutter, a very amazing Mox cutter. Looks exactly like it resembles what I should say. Like it resembles the RKO. I would say the best way to describe it. Like it totally resembled the RKO perfectly. Like when it was up in midair, and he hit it right in the middle of the canvas. I'm like, wow. Like I expected this from Randy Orton, but not from John Moxley. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but he only got a 2.7 count. This is where John Moxley picks up Swerve Strickland. This is where he tried to go for a sit-out pile driver, but like with his hands right between his legs, like his arms right between his legs, look like Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli doing, like he used to do it in his time in WWE to neutralize them. He didn't Except John Moxley didn't hit him like in a face buster kind of maneuver, but rather than like a pile driver like that, did a pile drive like that, like hands around, round between the, Swerve Strickland's legs. It's where John Moxley tried to go for a pin, but Swerve Strickland kicked out at 2.999999999 double triple nines, which is minus 0.1 away from being 3. This is where John Moxley started kicking ahead. This is where John Moxley's like, "You'll never beat me. You'll never be number one. Like, that belongs to my world. Like, welcome to my world. Like, I may be in your house, but you're in my world." And this is where he hits a headbutt right on the Swerve Strickland. With Swerve Strickland poking him in the eyes, that's where he hits a headbutt around the Swerve Strickland. This is where Swerve Strickland answered back with a headbutt of his own. This is where John Moxley went. This is where he started, and this is where John Moxley raked him in the eye. This is where Swerve Strickland started repeatedly hitting headbutts right on to John Moxley. This is where John Moxley kicks him right in the midsection. They bring him down. This is where he hits a big boot right into the face onto Swerve Strickland. This is where John Moxley runs right back to the left corner ropes, right onto in the ring. This is where he tried to go for running clothesline from hell. But this is where Swerve Strickland hits that he rolls right in the middle of the ring, looked like he's about to do Rob Van Dam's rolling flip somersault. But really, he was going to hit a guaranteed rolling pay dirt, like what he was trying to do the first time, but he got intercepted by John Moxley with that Mox cutter. But yeah, you know the rules. Like, if it doesn't work the first time, but if it's a counter or interception, it's gonna be a guaranteed the second attempt, which it was the case with Swerve Strickland. This is where he goes right up, picks John Moxley back up, try to go for a suplex, a spinning backward suplex, but surprisingly, John Moxley got back up. He was like, that's all you got, Swerve. This is where Swerve tried to go for a Claymore kick, which he did so beautifully, I suppose, to describe the maneuver itself. This is where, if not too beautiful, because Drew McIntyre might be envious for you hitting a better Claymore than he does. If you're not careful, Swerve. Just saying, like, for any warnings, like if Drew McIntyre sees this, of course. But anyways, this is where Swerve Strickland tried to go for a pinfall, but this is where John Moxley got the shoulders up, like before the referee can get ready to go for a pinfall. This is where, but this is where he started hitting this is where he started stealing the move from John Moxley and Bryan Danielson. But when he grabbed on to Moxley's hands, and this is where he started hitting his right foot right onto the face of John Moxley and stomping the mud hole right into the head of Mox until he grabbed onto his left arm and started twisting it back. And this is where he started hitting repeated right elbow strikes right into the shoulders. This is where John Moxley said, what else you got? This is where Swerve Strickland hits his finishing maneuver, which is that with that jumping that flying, more like a flying back heel kick right to the head of Moxley. He thought that was going to be it. And this is where he went right on the top rope. This is where he tried to hit the swerve stomp right off the top rope with John Moxley sitting down in a snapmare position. This is where John Moxley counter out of it. This is where he pushes him right off the top rope, and he fell right on the top corner of the ringside area and fell right down the concrete floor, which is the hardest place in the ringside area. This is where John Moxley was celebrating like if he just won the match, but not yet. This is where Strickland got back in. This is where John Moxley was. I put him in a camel clutch, right in the middle of the ring. This is where John Moxley did a rear naked choke right onto Swerve Strickland. He's like, I'm gonna let him go if you either choke out or you're gonna tap. It's gonna be one or the other. This is where Swerve Strickland nearly escaped the maneuver, but this is where John Moxley counters out of it, hits a cross armor right onto Swerve Strickland. This is where Swerve Strickland put the foot right onto the ropes. This is where John Moxley's like, I'll never let go. I'm never. And besides, it's barely hanging off the ropes. So how that can be a rope break? But yeah, I'll say it's still a rope break. What if you even? I'll say even if you put your fingertip on, I'll say yeah, it's technically a rope break. So Swerve Strickland did what's fair, but this is where John Moxley put his hand right on the mat. He's like, damn it! Like, how can I put away this guy? I gotta admit, this guy got passion into this sport as much as I do, and also will do anything, like he said, like he told me last week. Even if there's somebody that's the obstacle that's in his way, he'll get him out. But he'll never get rid of this obstacle because I'm getting past him and I'm gonna be number one. Well, he didn't say any of that, but I'm saying like when he was thinking, that's what probably was thinking. Like when he grabbed onto the steel chair, which I don't think that was a smart idea because it wasn't a no disqualification contest. But luckily Swerve Strickland hits a diving crossbody right over the right hand corner top ropes, like right over the top, like hit a diving splash right on the Moxley before he ended it in making it the worst match of the night. But luckily that didn't happen. But this is where Swerve Strickland go right on the top rope. This is where Swerve Strickland was getting ready for, or not the top rope. We was on to getting on the right corner, the right hand corner apron. This is where Swerve Strickland hit the stomp right into the face of John Moxley, making him sit down on that chair that was laying. I mean, that was right near the timekeepers area that he grabbed on and tried to whack Swerve Strickland with, but that plan was backfired. This is where Swerve Strickland hit a guaranteed swerve stomp, even though it was right off the apron. But like I said, it didn't matter. Like as long as you're hitting that move, it's gonna the second time, and it didn't work the first time, it's gonna be a guaranteed. Like this is where he did so. Like where John Moxley's sitting on the chair after he hits that stomp right, that kick stomp right into the face, what made him sit down right on that very chair. He was just holding to try to whack Swerve Strickland with a DQ loss, which would be a horrible idea. But it's where Swerve Strickland run from the right. From the right, he run from the right-handed apron and hit the double foot stomp, which was the swerve stomp, I should say. This is where he brought him back in the ring. He thought he grabbed a hold onto a four-leaf clover, I believe, yeah, because he brought him back in the ring. This is where he thought the third time is a charm to help him get the victory and go as number one and remaining undefeated, having 12 scoring his 3 more points, making it 12 points, and scoring his 4th win in a row into this Continental Classic tournament. This is where he tried to go for a double foot stomp, which I believe he did so, which I believe he did found the 4-leaf clover of luck of the third time is the charm. This is where Swerve Strickland grabs onto John Moxley. Like referee counted 1, referee counted 2, but unfortunately for Swerve, like he wasn't lucky enough to get the victory and remain unbeatable into this Continental Classic because John Moxley got the shoulders and the legs up before the referee tapped the 3. This is where Swerve Strickland was very upset. He was like, "How he kicked out?" This is where the referee's like, "Are you like? Can you still go on the Moxley?" He's like, "Yeah," and he looked like he was saying yes. This is where Swerve Strickland tried to go for that. Half Nelson driver, like half Nelson wheelbarrow driver. This is where John Moxley counters out of it, flipping him over into a wheelbarrow roll-up, which is known as the most devastating move in all the sports entertainment, and grab a handful of tights, remaining undefeated and scoring 3 more points, making it 12-0. John Moxley is your winner of tonight's match, which I want to give a huge congratulations of still remaining unbeatable and scoring 3 more points into this Continental Classic. And what's your thought and what y'all's thoughts about this, you SNA fans out there? And do you think it was the right choice of John Moxley winning against Swerve Strickland, or do you think Swerve Strickland should have won, considering he was a fan favorite and also not to mention a favorite to win this match and even become a Triple Crown Continental Champion of being the AEW Continental Champion, the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, and the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Or it's not the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, like what Tony Khan would say. Trying to sound like Vince McMahon, of course. But this is where after John Moxley scored the victory, and then Swerve Strickland ties Jay White at number 9. This is where we saw a parking lot beatdown by the Devil's Goons on the Hangman Adam Page, where they beat him down and slam him right over the hood of his car, like into like a double suplex slam, I suppose. Yeah, and this is where. And then this is where the devil appeared. This is where he's like, like start doing a little chuckle with Taz was like, well, that leaves Hangman Adam Page out of the picture, because how he could be here when the devil is right here, like right beside his minions his minions beating down the cowboy, which that leaves us AEW fans puzzled on who could it be. Can it be Jack? Is it Jack Perry? Is it Adam Cole? Is it Pac the Bastard? Or even what's his name? Roderick Strong himself, along with 2 of the guys out of the 4 goons, being Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Kingdom, of course, and possibly Kyle O'Reilly and perhaps Bobby Fish. But only time will tell. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, that was tonight's AEW Dynamite, which ended in a very mysteriously interesting way, with the Goons beating down Hangman Adam Page, which we already knew that Hangman Adam Page cannot be the guy, even though despite he got hit. MJF got hit in the back of the head with the same beer bottle that Hangman Adam Page loved to drink out of. Like, but it's like probably the Mystery Devil set Hangman Adam Page up and make it framing it's him. But really, like, he did a bizarre twist by revealing that it wasn't Hangman Adam Page, because he was right next to his goons when they were beating down him right near Hangman's car. But yeah, we're gonna. But what's your thoughts, man? Who could be the Mystery Devil? Let me know about it in the comments down below. But yeah, that was my AEW Dynamite review, part 18 video, episode 174. And what's your thoughts about it? And what do you think about tonight's AEW Dynamite? What was your favorite part? I would say my favorite part, it's a good question. I'll say the top 4 matches, perhaps, like altogether, which was John Moxley versus a Swerve Strickland match, was number 1. Number 2 was Andrade El Idolo against Brody King. Third, it was Hangman Adam Page taking on Roderick Strong. And fourth, I'll say Jay White taking on Mark Briscoe. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jay Lethal and Roosh was really good, but it was like it just got 5th place, like, and it's was where it was at, like in the mid card, at least for now. But don't get me wrong, they could be looking like they could fight for if they're fighting for the AEW championship someday, like if they're in the main event scene, of course. But yeah, stay tuned, like, to see more, like, what's going to happen next, who's going to be the Triple Crown Continental Champion, who's going to be AEW World Champion, and most importantly, what's the hottest thing what's going on in AEW is who's the Mystery Devil under MJF's mask, and who stole it, and who's the culprit, genuinely, either way. Leave a comment about that down below, but I'll give tonight's AEW Dynamite 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like, it was just a good show. And I wouldn't say it was perfect, but I would say it was a really good and best episode they made yet. Like, in this year in 2023, as we're gone to a close in the next couple of weeks of 2022. I mean, not 2023. That's the 2022. 2023. We're gone to a close of 2023. Like, because we're about to be in the year of 2024. And what do you think? What's next in the upcoming year and the year of professional wrestling, like in the side of professional wrestling for 2024? Y'all let me know also about that in the comments down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. And if you did, please leave a huge thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, click the bell notifications so you can be the first one to be notified when I upload my latest video. And tomorrow also, I'm going to be doing only my wrestling news, of course, like y'all already know. And it'll be episode 155, and it'll be part 56 of the wrestling news, where I'm going to be talking about the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know, which will be from the Wrestle Talk article on December 14th, 2023, I believe. And yeah, and again, I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin, on this 174th episode of the SNA podcast. And this is the AEW Dynamite review, part 18, I believe. But yeah, thank you, my SNA fans, for watching till the very end. And hopefully y'all have a great Wednesday night, and I'll see you all tomorrow night. Or tomorrow afternoon, more like. Not night, because I'm only going to be doing a wrestling news video because it is Thursday. And we won't be doing a wrestling review until like Friday night on SmackDown and Rampage, which will be episode, I believe, 177 and 78. But yeah, make sure you check that out. Stay tuned till then. Until we see each other again, until tomorrow. Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, out. Good night, everybody. I'll see you again, my SNA fans.